Ka whakamarama ngā whetū I te rangi me o tātou tānohi.
Kia ora koutou, my name is Brooke and welcome to Ngātahi, a Matariki series. Today we have Olive Karena Lockyer, an astronomer from Te Whatu Stardome in Auckland. Kia ora, Olive. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to share your knowledge of mātauranga Māori, especially Matariki, with our listeners today. So I guess just to start off with, in order to build the foundation of this Matariki series, can you tell us what Matariki is and what it represents?
Okay. So Matariki is a cluster of stars that we see in our night sky. Matariki is also the name of the brightest star in that cluster. So Matariki as a cluster, that name Matariki comes from a longer name, Ngā mata o te ariki tāwhiri mātea. So the crushed up eyes of the atua o ariki tāwhiri mātea, who's an atua of the wind and the weather. So the pūrākau, very short version, he was upset about his parents separating, and so he ripped his eyes from his sockets, crushed them up in his hands, and threw them up into his father's chest. So that's what Matariki is his crushed up eyes. And so tāwhiri mātea is blind. And as an atua of the wind, we don't see the wind. So we're blind to the wind, we only feel it. And he's also blind as well. And then Matariki, the star within the cluster, is the mother, and the rest of the stars are her children, and she's connected to well-being, oranga.
Yep. And I know that the other stars, they're supposed to represent environmental and spiritual domains. Can you talk a little more about that?
Sure. So the rest of the stars, there are 4 of them connected to different elements of the taiao where we collect kai. Tupuanuku is connected to food that grows in the ground, Tupuarangi, food that comes from the sky, so the birds and the fruit and the trees. Waitsi is connected to fresh water, so the food that we collect from there, and then Waita, salt water, so haimoana. And then the rest of the stars, there's 2 weather stars connected to wind and rain, and then the last 2, Hiwai Te Rangi is the youngest. She's the star that we send our wishes to, and is kind of connected to new life, I suppose. And then Pōhutukawa is the eldest and connected to those who have passed away throughout the. So we look to, that's why we look to this cluster to remember those who have passed.
Yeah, thank you. So, and I know Māori traditionally would observe these stars to try to predict the type of year they would have. Is that correct?
Yeah. So this cluster of stars is visible in our night sky for basically the whole year, which people don't really realize. So once Matariki has risen just after the winter solstice, Matariki remains somewhere in our night sky for the entire year. So looking to Matariki as during the Matariki period, the New Year period, we wait for the correct lunar phase, and tohunga kokorangi, people who know what they're doing. Yeah, not me, but people who are much more attuned to the taiao, the natural world, and are able to or who have been studying the taiao for a really long time, like really kind of acute observation of the natural world, and understand the appearance of the stars and how if their appearance changes, then what that can mean for the year or the season ahead. So atmospheric conditions will change the appearance of the stars. And so you know how to kind of read what that means. If you look at the star and its appearance looks a certain way, you can predict what kind of season you're going to.
So there is quite a bit of skill involved in it. It's not just, the star's bright this year.
Yeah, so there's probably different levels. Like you probably look at the star and say, hey, it's bright. And see what kind of year you have. Like all it is observation. It's observational science over hundreds, if not thousands of years. So a lot of that knowledge has been passed down, but it's also about people making their own observations.
Yeah.
Seeing what happens, going out and looking for yourself and taking note, then going back next year, seeing again.
Yeah. So I understand that the 3 pillars of Matariki are remembrance, celebrating the present, and looking to the future. So how did Māori traditionally observe these, or how was Matariki celebrated in the past?
Okay. So remembrance. I mean, we've touched on Pohutakawa, the star that guides those who have passed away. The year before guides them to the next realm. So traditionally when Matariki rises, the names of those who have passed away throughout the year have their names called out and are remembered, and it's a time to mourn the loss of those people, which is a part of what happens when Matariki rises. And the next one you said was the present, wasn't it?
Yeah, celebrating the present.
Yeah. So Matariki happens after the autumn harvest. So it's a time when there's a lot of kai around, and it's a time for being with the people who are still here, and sharing kai.
Yeah.
And planning for the future and just, I guess, spending that special moment in time together.
Yeah.
And in the future, planning ahead, reading the stars and making a prediction for what the year ahead might be, which is obviously maybe a little tricky for, the average person, including myself. But the idea of planning ahead, it's the beginning of the year. We've all heard and make our own New Year's resolutions. Yeah, same idea as just planning ahead or what's to come.
Thank you. So what do you think are some meaningful ways we can bring those pillars into our modern celebrations today?
Well, I think that Matariki is a really beautiful opportunity for everyone here in Aotearoa to make their own traditions. I think that getting up early, the ritual, or the tradition of getting up early before the sun rises, because that's what you need to do to see him.
Yep.
You need to get up probably at 4 o'clock, and then go somewhere where you have a good vantage point, a good view of the stars. So Upper Mountain is a good spot, or just anywhere where you can see a nice clear view, unobstructed view to the eastern horizon, and looking towards the northeast to see Matariki rise. And just that act of getting up early, going out to the right location and stargazing, yes, just kind of like a really nice, mindful, and I think kind of magical thing to be doing, like getting up that early. Like, I don't know if it's for me personally, whether it's just because I feel a bit delirious getting up so early or if, there's something more to it. But it does feel quite special to be doing that, stargazing, and usually with people you love as well. And yeah, that's kind of an amazing thing, like just for us to be going and spending more time in the environment, in the natural world, and also like stargazing. And beyond that, like I always think of Christmas and New Year's and how these are like the big holidays and how they come from the Northern Hemisphere. And in the Northern Hemisphere, those holidays happen in just after the winter solstice.
Yep.
So same as Matariki for us. So it makes sense for Christmas and New Year's in the Northern Hemisphere to happen in the winter time because it's after the autumn harvest. It's when there's lots of food, it's when it's cold and you want to gather together and create some light and warmth and joy amongst all the darkness and coldness. So I kind of see Matariki in the same way, for us to create that warmth and light and togetherness in the
Yeah. So I think it's a beautiful time just to connect with family and just, enjoy each other's company and plan for the future together.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah.
It's something special for us. It's unique for us here in Aotearoa, it's something from here and for here.
Yeah.
For us to be a part of it is to be in tune with the environment or rhythm instead of going off a rhythm from the other side of the world.
Yeah. I like that. It's very beautiful. So I know Matariki rises at a different time each year. Can you explain how it connects to Maramataka?
Yeah. So the star, the cluster of stars, the south, technically rises at the same time every year. However, because we are following the
Sorry, I meant Matariki happens at a different time each year.
Yeah, well, it's kind of spoken of as if it rises at different times each year because we're not only looking to the stars, we're also looking to the moon. So we're using the moon's timing as our calendar system, and that's what we use to keep pace.
Yep.
And the rhythm of the moon is different to the Gregorian calendar that we're used to. That's what we use every day. And so the Gregorian calendar is following the cycle of the sun. So it doesn't matter what the moon is doing. The months the months of the Gregorian calendar don't align with the cycles of the moon. So for Matariki and the Maramataka, which is the Māori lunar calendar, the moon is what we observe instead. So we're not following a Gregorian calendar at all. Instead, we're looking at the moon phases, and every single day of the moon, or each day, the moon has a slightly different phase. It grows or shrinks slightly. So we're closely observing the movement of moon around us, and when that moon hits a particular, so for many, that moon phase that we're looking for, the first day that we observe Matariki, is called Tangaroa Mua, and it's the third quarter. So it's a half moon, and it's the third quarter of the moon phase. So about a week after the full moon. Yep. And what was your question again?
So how does Matariki relate to Maramataka? I guess with the timing.
Okay, so how it happens. So Matariki is like a recalibrator. So when we see, because what happens is 1 month is one full moon cycle.
Yeah.
So we watch the moon closely. Each day is a different day of the month, different moon phase. And after a whole moon cycle, so from whiro to whiro, new moon to new moon is 1 month in the maramataka. And during that month, what we'll see in the early morning is like the prime time for us to get our timekeeping bearings, I guess. So we're looking for the stars that rise just before the rising sun from the eastern horizon. So the sun rises from the east, and so do all of the stars. Everything does. And so we're looking for a particular star that rises from the eastern horizon just before the rising sun, and that star tells us which month we're in. So the first month of the Māori year is a star called Pipiri, and that's the name of the month as well. So the star and the month share the same name. So when we see Pipiri rise and we watch the moon phases go by and we get to that third quarter moon phase, Tangaroa Mua, we go out during that morning and we look for Matariki. And if we see Matariki, we know that the new year has begun. If we can't see Matariki, like if it gets light before we get to see Matariki, then we know that we have to wait another month. Yeah, that same moon phase again to see Matariki. If it's just because it's cloudy, then we can go out the next night and try again. Yeah. If it's actually because Matariki hasn't risen yet, then we know that we're a month early. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yes, yeah, thank you. Can I ask what sparked your interest in astronomy?
Sure. What sparked my interest? I have always looked up to the night sky and wanted to know more. I really enjoy the light, the darkness, and when you look up to the stars, it's it feels pretty magnificent to me. Like there's nothing like it. And so I've always just had a good feeling being in the night under the stars, and would always look up and want to know more. And so I just decided that I would go and learn.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
you started at Te Whatu?
Yeah. So I started as a volunteer, like a operator, just looking at random things in their courtyard.
Yeah.
And then that was 10 years ago. So
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've learnt a lot since then, and have just kind of continued my learning journey working at Te Whatu Stardome.
Yeah.
And kind of found what I was really interested finding Matariki and Māori astronomy.
Yeah. Because I know Te Whatu does Matariki shows. Have they always done that, like before you were there?
Yes, they have. They've had different iterations. So I think it all has just depended on who was there at the time and what their interests might have been, or the relationships that they might have had. When I got there, I guess that's all I can really speak to. I don't really know what they were doing before my time. But when I got there, there was a show about Matariki that was it was nice. I'm not sure where they got all of the information from, and that's the thing with all of this, is that it's all location specific. Mātauranga comes from iwi hapu, and everyone has their own stories, their own pūrākau, their own mātauranga. So what they were sharing is totally relevant. They just don't know who it's relevant to.
Yeah. Have you seen it like evolve quite a lot over the years you've been there? The celebration of Matariki?
Yeah, I think so. So in my time since I've been there, we have taken our lead from Professor Rani Mātāmua,
Yeah.
who has been really helpful in helping not only us but the whole nation in upskilling around Matariki, knowing what we're doing, and for us, giving us the confidence to share what we have. So that's who we've taken our guidance from, and there's been a big shift. Like there's not really any barriers or anything that Māori staff can't do. We kind of have the power we want, which is nice because it's Mātauranga Māori, so
Yes.
it's by us and for us, or from us, rather than going through someone who doesn't really understand. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Thank you. Or how do you feel about it being a public holiday now?
I think it's so cool. Yeah, I have to mihi to Professor Rangi Matamua for putting in the hard yards to make that happen. I know that, and not just him as well. There's so many people who have been doing so much to promote Matariki and to get Matariki to the level, the collective consciousness that it's at today. So it's amazing. It's an amazing thing to have happened, and I believe it's the first Indigenous public holiday in the Commonwealth. I don't know. Right, I've been told that, but I don't know what the parameters of that. But also, it makes me think of Puanga, because Puanga is another star that is near Matariki, that doesn't quite receive as much attention, but is just as important. Different iwi. So iwis up north and along the west coast, some of them look to Puanga instead of Matariki, or as well as Matariki. Puanga's, because of its slightly different location, makes Puanga easier to see, a more reliable weather indicator, how we look to the stars to predict what the weather might bring. So for some iwi, Puanga is their New Year's star. Yeah, but Matariki gets all their attention.
So how has learning about maramataka and Matariki impacted your view on life? Were you brought up with this knowledge?
No, I wasn't. Yeah, I came into it through my journey in astronomy.
Yeah.
So I got really into astronomy, started volunteering and then working at Te Whatu Stardome, and had the opportunity to learn about the maramataka and Matariki and Māori astronomy, and found that something about it just really clicked for me. I think as I guess, like, as for my identity, like as a wahine Māori, it was a way for me to an entry point for me into Te Ao Māori that felt really tika for me, because of the connection to the tai ao, how it's how it is observational science. I'm a bit of a science nerd.
Yeah. Have you got a background in science?
I do. I mean, I studied science at uni.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess this job is kind of the only scientific job I've had, working in astronomy.
Yeah.
But So I just loved how it fused these two worlds, like mātauranga Māori and this culture that I am a part of, that I've often felt like I didn't quite know where my entry point was, and science, observational science, and kind of merging these two things, these two ideas, has been really insightful. It makes so much sense to me, and also like really healing.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm sure like a lot of other Māori can relate to you as well, like as they start connecting with their culture a bit more and learning more about Mātauranga Māori. So before we finish up today, I just wanted to ask if there is one core message you want people to take away from our chat about Matariki. What would that be?
Okay. I would encourage people to go outside and observe the moon, look at the sky, just see. You don't have to know what you're looking at, but just go and have a look. And then when you have time again, go look again. And then just keep going and seeing and being curious. And I think the more curious we can be, the more that there is to uncover, and the more magic that we discover in this like system that's accessible to all of us. It's just right there. We can all go and look. It's all there waiting for you. And you don't need any qualifications. You just need a pair of eyes.
Yeah. Thank you once again for your time and for sharing your beautiful thoughts and story. I hope everyone listening found our session insightful and that you were able to take away one lesson from our discussion today as we head into Matariki celebrations. Ngā mihi nui.
Ngā whetū I te rangi mana ki te amatai.